All right, hi everyone. My name is Adrian and I'm here with Charles and we're going to be talking about the Sepsis Escape Room VR game.
All right. So to start off, just a brief overview of our sponsors. Our sponsors are from the University of Nebraska Medical Center, specifically the College of Nursing. It's a world-class health science center with 5 campuses across Nebraska, and the project is supported by a grant from the UNMC College of Public Health.
We had 3 main stakeholders that helped us throughout the project: Sue Schulke, Tess McKinney, and Janet Naveen. They were a huge help in making this project possible from the beginning to now.
All right. And then for our development team, I'm Charles. I'm a developer, and then our product
And then
manager Adrian introduced himself earlier. And then we are also joined by our development manager Joey Novotny, uh, our other 2 developers Tanner Skelton and William Gardner.
we also wanted to thank our senior design helpers, Melanie and Jeff, for being of guidance throughout the whole entire project as well.
And so moving on to our problem and solution. So sepsis is the leading cause of deaths in US hospitals, and it has more than 1.7 million people diagnosed in the US each year. And sepsis is a big issue because mortality increases by as much as 8% for every hour that the condition is left untreated. And so our sponsors wanted to create a game to test their nursing students' knowledge of sepsis and equip them with the skills to treat it.
And so that's how the game Nurses Escape was born. And in the game, players have 20 minutes to figure out that the disease that they're trying to diagnose and treat is sepsis, as well as go through a variety of different puzzles in different rooms that test the different steps of the sepsis treatment cycle. So they have to do this all within a 20-minute timer to help treat the sepsis, and it helps put the nurses in a time-sensitive situation under pressure and test their knowledge of the steps of the sepsis treatment.
All right. And then we used Blender for a lot of our asset modeling. And then one big goal that our sponsors wanted us to achieve was multiplayer. And we used a framework called Photon to handle multiplayer. And then the engine that we used is Unity, and the hardware that we built it for was the Oculus Quest standalone virtual reality headset.
So throughout the project, we had to come up with creative ways for us to incorporate the steps of the sepsis treatment, sepsis bundle into the game in ways that were both educational and tested the nurse's knowledge, but were still engaging and challenging enough to keep the player wanting to continue to play. We did this through a variety of different ways. In the escape room, we have 5 different rooms. In each of the room, there are different puzzles that the user has to solve before they can move on to the next room. We incorporated educational material through things like Scrabble, word puzzles, Morse code keyword that they had to listen to and solve, which is from this room that you're seeing to the right. Then we have they have to match different cards. There's hidden messages and clues. They have to we test their medication recognition with different medication that is used specifically to treat sepsis symptoms. And they have to know specific vitals and statistics and calculations that all deal with treating sepsis.
Yeah. And then, so for value and highlights of our project, Nurses Escape is published on the SideQuest store. So if you own an Oculus Quest or Quest 2 headset, you can actually download it and play it for free through the SideQuest software. And we also learned a lot about the importance of sepsis treatment and creating engaging as well as educational games, because we wanted our puzzles to be fun and not just like a medical simulation, but also still have applications to the material that we are trying to test our users on.
And just to add to that, as of now, there are about 70 downloads from the SideQuest page and almost 600 views, and the game has only been published for 2 days, so that's super exciting. But Other technical challenges that we had to overcome was multiplayer and syncing all the different players' movements as they moved through the game together. That took pretty much the whole entire year. But the game is going to be used in the UNMC College of Nursing curriculum to replace the lecture style way that they teach sepsis and test nurses' knowledge of sepsis. So we're hoping that this game can give nurses the knowledge and skills needed to save people's lives in a timely manner. But that is all for our presentation. We wanted to save some time for questions if anyone has any.
Yeah, what was it like developing multiplayer in VR?
So our main developer for that side of the project, Joey, isn't in the presentation right now. He's actually holding down the fort in our table. But the main thing is that our development cycle is kind of squashed right between two awkward moments in Unity multiplayer, where they just deprecated the old solution, and then like this month they just released the beta test for their new solution. So we kind of had to find something to work, and it was really hard to get for Joey and the rest of the team to kind of get that first implementation down, which took off a lot of our time. And so a lot of the fine tuning of things that were broken by the way that the multiplayer syncing between multiple headsets, like by the way that code works, a lot of things were broken. And so the game is mostly playable in multiplayer, but also kind of not really. So I think it was more so trying to handle a third-party multiplayer framework that didn't really work the best, I guess. But our single player version of the game, which is what you can download, is pretty rock solid.
Cool,
Thanks for that question. Are there any other questions from anybody at all? Cool. Well, thank you for coming to listen to our presentation. If you want to see a demo of the game, feel free to go to our table.